It is truly my honor, absolute honor this morning, to provide the introduction for our keynote speaker, Mr. Johnathan Holifield. A great deal of Johnathan's distinguished career aligns with one of our core pillars of Blackstone LaunchPad. That's inclusive innovation and entrepreneurship programs for women and minority entrepreneurs. I have really valued the opportunity to get to know Johnathan over the past several months. We first connected as part of the support team for the Believe in Ohio STEM Entrepreneurship Program for high school students, and have found other similar paths back to our upbringing in Michigan and our activity with the Michigan DECA programs and competing at multiple levels only a few years back, right, Johnathan?
That's right.
Currently, Johnathan is well regarded as the nationally distinguished architect of inclusive competitiveness, co-founder of Scale Up Partners, senior consultant for Insight Center for Community Economic Development, as well as the state director for inclusive competitiveness for the Believe in Ohio program. Throughout his prominent career, Johnathan has also served as a catalyst and consultant for the Ohio Board of Regents Subcommittee on Inclusive Competitiveness, was the Vice President for Inclusive Competitiveness for Nortec, Founding Executive Director for Cincy Tech, Founding Vice President for the New Economy Enterprise in Cincinnati. And in addition to his notable career in this innovation economy, he is also widely known and well respected for leading the creation of Ohio's first statewide urban STEM mentor network, as well as creating Ohio's first IT-focused high school, Cincinnati's Robert A. Taft IT High School. Prior to all of these accolades, Johnathan received his bachelor's degree in political science from West Virginia University, his master's degree and law degree from University of Cincinnati, and is a graduate of the University of Oklahoma's Economic Development Institute. Johnathan is also well known for his football achievements as captain of the WVU football team and being a running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. Please join me in the warmest welcome for Mr. Johnathan Holifield.
Come here. DECA.
DECA.
Yes. Distributed Education Clubs of America. Anyone else was a part of DECA in high school? Anyone? One? A few? It's a great organization. It helps create the kinds of entrepreneurs that I'm here to talk about. Good morning. Now we're going to try that again. Good morning. All right, let's get the cobwebs out. It's a pleasure to be here. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the work that Julie has done here, Blackstone LaunchPad, Kent State University, and this effort to embed entrepreneurship not just in one area of the university, but throughout the university. That's important. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. What I call the entrepreneurship imperative in the innovation economy. The entrepreneurship imperative in the innovation economy. Let's click this forward. There we go. What is the innovation economy? Click it. It is the period we're in right now that is marked by radical socioeconomic challenges that are brought about by the convergence of five factors. Five factors, please. One, globalized commerce. Secondly, the democratization or widely available information. The explosive, exponential growth of entrepreneurship. Accelerated new knowledge creation. And the interconnectedness of just about everything, soon to be everything. This is our period right now. Please. Now we're facing an economic competitiveness crisis, not just as a region, but as a nation. One, the decline in traditional manufacturing. The decline in employment in the U.S. auto industry. I'm from Detroit originally. And you're talking about the decimation of employment, not productivity, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. decline in growth, and increasing age of the U.S. population, unemployment and underemployment. Do you know they're forecasting for recent college graduates a 46% unemployment rate? Okay? Talent flight, crime from core cities such as Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Cincinnati. Racial tension. We've witnessed that over the past years. Here's the point. All of these things have combined to squeeze Americans in unprecedented ways. Unprecedented. From the top down, we have a phenomenon called the flatter world. We're all probably familiar with that. And the bottom up, there's a pressure called tech adoption and integration. We talk less about that. Let's talk about the flatter world. Essentially, it's a phenomenon that Tom Friedman coined about a decade ago. And it's really about the rise in talent where perhaps 3 to 4 billion new competitors are on the global scene, right? I'm one who believes that everyone has a talent to contribute across the globe. Some have been under repressive, oppressive regimes with an inability to express their genius. Well, those are increasingly falling. And they want the same things that we want. Good quality of life, an enjoyable life, good jobs, the ability to create. That's a top-down pressure. It used to be the nation could compete, dominate for most of the 20th century with one hand tied behind its back. That's no longer the case in America. Please. Here's the other part of that. The decoupling of job creation from business productivity. At my table, we were talking earlier when my grandfather came from Tuskegee, Alabama to Detroit, Michigan in 1920. 1920. I still have his retirement watch. He worked for Henry Ford and the Ford Motor Company from 1920 to 1957. He worked at the largest plant in the world, the Rouge Works. At its peak, the Rouge Works had 100,000 employees. One plant for a then national company. Today, Ford Motor Company is probably the most productive of the car companies. It's a global behemoth. Only 166,000 employees. That's the decoupling of business productivity from job creation. Why is that? Let's look at this. Go back for a second. Let's look at this. In 1953, manufacturing accounted for 28% of gross domestic products. Over that time, U.S. GDP, since that time, increased from $2.6 trillion to $15.5 trillion, which means that absolute manufacturing output more than tripled in 60 years. More than tripled. But here's the bottom line. The number of employees in manufacturing back then was nearly a third of employment. By 1980, it was 20% of employment. By 2012, it was 10% of employment. And here's the upshot. Manufacturing productivity grew 300%. Yet, jobs dropped from more than 30% to 10%. The decoupling of business productivity from actual job creation. Please. Which begs the question for us, from where will new jobs come, new wealth come, new opportunity come if we're not creating it? From where will it come? Will it materialize out of thin air? From where will it come? We're going to recruit our way to prosperity? Attract all kinds of new businesses to provide jobs for our people? I don't think so. Here's the answer. The absolute best definition of entrepreneurship I've ever read. Professor Howard Stevenson, Harvard Business School. Entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled. That's it. It's the pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled. In other words, entrepreneurship is a way of life. It expresses itself in new enterprise creation, the pursuit of higher education, Deb's pursuit of her PhD. These are entrepreneurial steps. And this is the imperative facing our communities, our state, and the nation. People who pursue opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled. Please. All right. Today, as we pursue opportunity, the innovation economy is the best we've seen yet. Despite all of its imperfections, we have never had more opportunity. Let's look at this. One, it's more democratic, right? Because of it opening access to information, right? It's more egalitarian. There are prospects for all of us, more egalitarian than ever. More egalitarian than the agrarian economy and the manufacturing economy, right? More meritocratic, right? We're closer to a meritocracy than we've ever been, as far as we are away from it. We're closer now than we've ever been. More inclusive, because success is not determined by owning land, agrarian economy, or the means of production in the industrial economy. There is more opportunity today than in the history of humankind, right now. The innovation economy. Please. So, the question becomes, are we entitled or entrepreneurial? Some of you may recognize Ron Burgundy, God bless him. This is only a test, right? No action required. A very entitled perspective. He is waiting for opportunities to present themselves. Then there's Michael Jordan, right? What did he say? Some people want it to happen. Some people wish it would happen. Others make it happen. Those are entrepreneurs who pursue opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled. That's our question. What will we be? A community, a region, a nation of entitled or entrepreneurial? Give you a bit of context. We're at Kent State. Kent State is near and dear to my heart, but not for the reasons that you may know. Julie provided a wonderful introduction. My exposure to Kent State goes back a long time. In high school, I captained my high school football team. We were perfect. we lost every single game. We lost one game 64-0. We were horrible. So I believed, I didn't just wish, I wanted to compete at a high level in college, play ball, right? Well, with that kind of record, the schools in Michigan, they didn't really give me much of a look, right? Michigan and Michigan State. So my coach sent some film to Kent State. Kent State said I couldn't play here. Now, mind you, that year, Kent State didn't win a game. And they said I couldn't play here. So I sent some film to West Virginia. They said, come on as a walk-on. No scholarship, no guarantee. January 5th, 1980, blah, blah, blah. Quite a long time ago. Hopped on a Greyhound bus in Detroit, Michigan, took off for Morgantown, West Virginia, had never been further east than Cedar Point. Never. So this notion of mountains and homes and mountains in Pennsylvania and West Virginia was all new to me. I'm from Flat, Michigan, Detroit, right? Walked on. In one semester, I earned a scholarship. By my sophomore year, I was a starter. By my senior year, I was a captain. The pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources controlled. That's an entrepreneur. That's what we're missing. That spirit is what we need. Please. So, what's the solution? Please. Practice one. Comprehend the speed of the game. You guys may recognize that guy. May not recognize this guy. That guy is Bo Jackson. This guy is me. But here's the point. Talking about comprehending the speed of the game. I didn't meet him. I was about from here to this gentleman here away from Bo Jackson, 25, 27 years ago. And I looked at Bo Jackson, and I looked at myself, and I said, man, that's what it's really about. I'll never be that. In the entrepreneurial space, we'd call Bo Jackson a high-growth enterprise, a tremendous job creator. I was a functional business. We need those too. But the speed of this game and comprehending the needs, we need both good businesses, but we need some real winners here. I mean some special businesses. Out of the LaunchPad program, we need some real breakthrough opportunities. Some real big winners. You know, LaunchPad doesn't create entrepreneurs. No one creates entrepreneurs. It's in Latin what you call causa sui. Generated from within itself. When you walk through the doors of LaunchPad, they help you to succeed. That is an expression of entrepreneurship. And LaunchPad helps you to succeed. But that notion of pursuing opportunity without regard to resources controlled is an internal expression. Causa sui, of its own creation and expression. Please. Second practice. The most important thing is the way, not the thing. I was talking to Najib at the table. He has a great idea for a business. He's a senior here at Kent State. He said, I'm still in the pursuit stage. I said, you're still an entrepreneur. This won't be your last idea. This is your first big idea. So pursue it. But here's the point. By living his life in pursuit of opportunity, he opens himself and avails himself to express that in all kinds of content, in all kinds of things. He's not just a biologic business owner, he's an entrepreneur. He can express that in his current business, his next business, his business after that. The thing is less important than the way. The way is entrepreneurship. The way is the pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled. Expressing that way in your pursuit of education, your pursuit of intrapreneurship as an employee in an organization, your pursuit of this in the formation of new business. All of these things are entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurial. Please. Third practice, we can't fear big ideas. In my own life, coming from a winless, terrible high school football team, believing that I could contribute and can compete at a high level, I was not afraid of the big idea. Still not afraid of the big idea. The fact that we haven't done a thing before means almost nothing to me. The fact that we've not done a thing is the standard by which, unfortunately, too many of us operate. If it hasn't been done before, then why do it now? I think that is almost like unleashing, untapping innovation, right? We can't fear the big idea. We need some big ideas. We need some big ideas in economic development, economic competitiveness, innovation. We're fortunate to have wonderful incumbents. We have one of the most robust entrepreneurial ecosystems in the nation. We have assets that stack up well to almost any community in the nation. But guess what? It's not enough. The incumbents are great. As my mother would say, necessary but insufficient. We need much more, many more entrepreneurs, many more business formation, many more business owners, many more who are pursuing higher education, many more who are helping their current employer become even better. We need it all to overcome the challenges that I outlined earlier. So, closing takeaways. 1, if you get nothing else from this presentation, understand, and I encourage you to embrace, entrepreneurship as a way of life. It expresses itself in innumerable kinds of ways. It is the pursuit of opportunity without regard to the resources you currently control. I hope we all be the entrepreneur that we are born to be. Perhaps we all, together, will pursue new opportunities regardless of the resources we control. That's the imperative for Northeast Ohio. That's the imperative for our state. That's the imperative for our nation. And thank you. I think I have a few minutes for any questions. Great. Questions, comments, anything? It's a quiet group today. Yes. As Julie described, I'm a consultant with Scale Up Partners, and we advise communities, governments, economic development organizations, community development organizations on what we call, or I call, inclusive competitiveness. That is improving the performance of underrepresented Americans in our innovation economy. That could be innovation ecosystems, industry clusters, and frankly, every other manner of thing that impacts regional economic competitiveness. That's my day job. Yes, sir. Entrepreneurship. It really is, because as I talked about, it's a way of life. And football is for a moment. Whenever you flame out, and everyone flames out, some of us flame out earlier than others. But eventually you have a window, and it's over. It's never over for the entrepreneur. So you have to build up a level of muscle fiber to endure every day, to pursue every day. So while the intensity of the physical game of football for that window is unmatched, the grind of everyday pursuing opportunity, that endurance, that resilience, is by far the tougher and more important game. Yes, ma'am. What am I doing to overcome them? What were some of the obstacles to entrepreneurship, and what did I do to overcome them? Consistent with the theme there, I'm a big proponent of understanding the speed of the game you're in, and then setting your pace for success. It's, as an athlete, you go from JV to varsity to college or pro, right? And wherever you are, you determine how fast that game is being played, then you set your pace for success. You go from a law student to a law clerk to a lawyer, right? And you see how fast that game is being played, and you set your pace for success. In the areas in which I'm consulting, we have done a wonderful job of building the appetite for inclusive competitiveness. We call it making the horse thirsty, taken from the metaphor you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, our job is to make the horse thirsty. Sometimes communities don't even know what they don't want until you offer it. Heck, some of you guys like Starbucks, right? You didn't even know you'd pay $4 for a fancy cup of coffee till it was offered. So we're making the horse thirsty by offering these kinds of new solutions to complement their incumbent strategies. Understanding the speed of the game you're in, setting your pace for success, and the will to endure. Because I tell you, there are naysayers everywhere. You give them no power over your dream and the contribution you were born to make. None. They are everywhere. And many can block your path, your initial path, and maybe even your complementary and supplementary path, so you begin to go that fourth route, because you have to fulfill what you believe your contribution is to me. It's tough, it's something that we do, and it's something I encourage all of us to do. Very good. Thank you very much for your time. I enjoyed being here. Entrepreneurship, let's pursue opportunity without regard to resources controlled. All right, have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johnathan. Your leadership and support remain critical in the advancement of a fully inclusive, innovative culture. We are honored that you have been here to share your expertise with us this morning, and I am sure that many of our student entrepreneurs look forward to meeting you during our